you break into a sweat with even the thought of having company? I'm here to help. After trying just a few of my hosting tips, you'll be more than ready to say, come on over. How many of you have shown up to a dinner party and just marveled at how everything came together the minute you sat down to eat? Well, that's called party prep, and it is a well-honed skill over a variety of months and years and styles of parties that you develop to make sure that happens. I have a very specific way of doing this, and you might be able to use it. That's why I'm sharing it today. What I do after I choose the time for the party to start is I start backing out all the tasks that need to be completed. I will write it out like this: big, black, bold, and as I complete each step, I check it off. So let's say that I want my dinner party to start at 6:30. Now I'm going to tell my guests 6 o'clock because some of them are going to arrive at 6 o'clock and then all the way up to 6:30. So I have as my sit down at the table, everything's ready, 6:30, even though I tell them 6. So at 6:30, you're going to notice I wrote eat. I actually write that down because I want to know, and somebody may ask, what time are we really going to eat? 6:30. At 6 o'clock, I write guests arrive. Now it may just be one guest, it may be two guests, it may be one family. Guests arrive. So when the guests arrive, they're going to stand in your kitchen. It is a guarantee, especially if it's a big open area like this. You can still be working in the kitchen, but that's where they're going to be standing.
You're dawdling.
Oh, sorry, what you...
Get out of my kitchen!
And that's why I put the appetizers on the end of the bar, because that's where they're going to stand. And so what I have at 5:45 is set out apps. And it doesn't have to be a complicated setup. It can just be one of our favorites, which is olives, cheese, crackers. We might throw a little chocolate in there and sometimes a cocktail. And so all of that is set out on the bar. So if we're going to set it out for guests to eat at 6, it must be out and ready to go at 5:45. Also at 5:45, light the candles and put the ice in the water glasses. Now you're gonna think, I'll remember to light the candles. I'll put the ice in the water glasses. You're not going to.
I know I came in here for a reason. Am I hungry?
Trust me on this. I throw a lot of parties and I forget that all the time. So I actually write it down. Now I'm lighting those candles a full 45 minutes before we're gonna sit down to eat. But that's fine because most candles will last a very long time and you don't have to worry about them burning out. Also, guests love to come in and see the table ready to go. You also don't want to be jumping up and putting ice in glasses the minute you sat down. And you don't want to sit down and go, crack! I forgot to light the candles. You don't want to do that. All right, at 5:30. Now remember, your guests are arriving at 6 and you're going to eat at 6:30. At 5:30, I wrote, be ready, and that means me. My clothes I'm going to wear during this party have to be on. My hair must be done. My jewelry is on. My makeup is done. Everything is done. You don't want to shout down from the top of the stairs, I'm curling my hair, just give me a minute. No, you must be ready. You can still be in the kitchen, but you personally must be ready. You will be relieved to be ready a full hour before the first guest arrives. All right, so 5 o'clock. Again, this is an hour and a half before you're going to eat. I wrote, start potatoes and open the red wine. Now I chose potatoes because a lot of people like mashed potatoes for dinner. I mean, it's rarely turned down. And so that is an item, the potatoes can be peeled if you peel them, or sliced, or whatever you're going to do in your pot for boiling.
We don't care what they look like, we'll eat them any way they can fit on our plate. Every way we can conjure to heat them. We're delighted and think they're just great.
Those can be sitting there ready to go. That's starting the potatoes. You don't want to be washing and starting the potatoes at 6 o'clock thinking, well, I want them to be hot and fresh. No, start them on the stove at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. That way they're ready to go. They're on the stove, they're in the water. If you add salt to the water, that's in there, they are ready to go. And then you can choose exactly what time you want to turn them on. Most potatoes will take between 15 to 20 minutes to get to the desired softness for mashing. It might take you another 5 to 7 minutes to mash them, actually mash them. If you're going to whip them, you don't want that sound going on while your guests are talking at 6 o'clock, so you want to make sure all of that is completed. Now you might be thinking, that is way too early to start the potatoes. I mean, I want them to be hot and fresh. I hear what you say. I used to think the same thing until I found myself mashing potatoes frantically to get them on the table and missing all the fun and the laughter and the really party atmosphere. You can mash your potatoes ahead of time, put them in their container and stick them in a warm oven. Put some foil over them, put your butter in there. I've been known to use an entire stick of butter in my potatoes, which let me tell you, it's awesome. Put them in the oven, warm oven or your warming drawer, and just let them stay warm. The dish will also be warm. You don't want to be whipping potatoes with your beaters when guests are talking in your kitchen, because they are going to be in your kitchen. Just accept that they're going to be in your kitchen. So you want to keep your noise level of prepping down. Also, at 5 o'clock, open your red wine. Why would I open my red wine at 5 o'clock? Well, red wine needs to breathe. And so if you're serving red wine, just go ahead and open it. Not only will that task be done, but it will get to breathe, and you can even decant it, which means you pour the red wine into a glass vessel to help it breathe and freshen up. You can put them in those little individual wine servers that I've shown you in other videos, little carafes. They can be sitting in those and breathing, and it looks beautiful on your table. And that's 5 o'clock. You're not eating till 6:30, but at 5 o'clock, open the red wine. It works every time. Now, I don't generally do other major things more than an hour and a half before we eat, but you might feel more comfortable doing that. So you can assemble any other casserole at any other time during the day and even the night before, or anything that you can put together that then just needs to go into the oven and ding, pop out at 6:30, fresh and hot. A lot of things will hold in the refrigerator, so if that would make you feel more comfortable for your party, do that. Also, around 11 o'clock that day, because it's a Saturday, usually home watching some football or doing some house things, I start doing a clean/touch-up. So our house is usually within 10 minutes of having guests. I did a video on that. Make sure you watch that. So it's not a huge amount of cleanup, but I might go around and take the dusting cloth. I might sweep a little bit. I might freshen some flowers. I might wash the mirror in the guest bath. You know, any little thing that you think you don't want to look up and go, I see dust on that piece of furniture. Take care of that before noon on the day of your party, if possible. Get your vacuuming done, your sweeping done, any sort of major cleaning. Clean out your dishwasher. Run it even if it's not a full load. Get all of those dishes put away, everything out of the sink, have that all finished if possible. You can still have a little bit of stuff in your dishwasher, but don't start with a full dishwasher when your party starts. And please don't run your dishwasher during the party. That's not very guest happy. At 10:30, and I do this a lot, I will start the crock pot. I like to run the crock pot on the low setting if possible. That usually takes between 8 and 10 hours. Sometimes it'll be 6 hours. So if I can get the main meat, if I'm doing it in the crock pot, or the main dish going at 10:30 in the morning, not only can I give that a big check, but the house is going to smell awesome. I mean, really great. It's off in the corner and part of the kitchen, a counter that we don't generally use for anything but the toaster, the crock pot. We don't really prep in that area. Just put it over there, let it go, and it will be delighted to be ready when you're ready. You can also let things in the crock pot just stay on warm. Now, most crock pots come with a warm setting. It may be an old-fashioned crock pot and you have to turn it to warm. It could be one like I have that once the cooking period is done, it automatically puts itself on warm. What's great about the crock pot is that you usually cannot overcook anything in there. It is a low setting, a slow setting, and it's just keeping it warm. Food will not overcook in there that I've ever found. So if we're not quite ready to sit down at the table, it's fine. The crock pot will be fine. Okay, so that's Saturday. Now, Friday, there are some things you can do to take away some of the pressure of Saturday. And one of the things I like to do is go to the grocery and get the freshest supplies I can on Friday. If it's canned food or jarred food or food that has a long shelf life, you don't need to worry about going Friday and getting the freshest thing. If it's vegetables, fruit, herbs, you do want to get the freshest ones you can because that really does improve the flavor. So I will go to the grocery, or I will send Jimmy to the grocery to get the extra things we need for our meal. I have also been known to
Avengers!
Assemble any sort of casserole or anything I can do ahead of time on Friday, put it in the refrigerator, it's done until I need to bake it. My only recommendation on that would be make sure that you get that pre-assembled dish out in plenty of time before you're going to bake it to get it close to room temp. It takes longer to bake if you go right from the refrigerator into the oven, so why not bring it out, set it out, and remind yourself, ding ding, at, let's see, what time? Let's say it takes an hour in the oven. You would need to set your timer or your alarm to go off and let you know that if you're going to eat at 6:30, at 5:30, you put that casserole dish in the oven to bake. Another thing I sometimes do on Friday, not always, depending on how big the crowd is going to be, is I set the table. Now, you've seen my videos. You know that my setting the table may not be your setting the table, but I do love to make the table beautiful. And so it has a lot of components on it. It doesn't just have the dishes and the silverware and the napkins. It has multiple dishes. It has serving dishes, all kinds of things I like to put on the table. The candles, candelabras maybe, flowers, pine cones, birds, all different kinds of things I can find around the house to put on the table. So if it's really involved, I might do that the night before and we just work around it on Saturday. If it's my usual thing, I'll do that Saturday morning or definitely before 5 o'clock to get that done. So here's what it looks like. I'm not kidding. We write it out just like this, and then we just go through and check off each one. I have been known to set my phone alarm to remind me in kind of the tight area that it's time to do one of the things I have here listed. So it's not a mystery how these hosts and cooks make everything come together at the last minute. It's experience and mapping it out. If I can do it, you can do it. Because whether you're throwing a birthday party or a fancy dinner or just even a family dinner, you want to make sure that your guests feel special, and you being ready personally and in the kitchen will accomplish that. So pick up the phone, invite somebody over, and make your list. If I go to a restaurant and look in the menu, I'm like, good use of the font. Too many fonts. That's not big enough. Who decided this graphic was a great idea? Excellent paper. I can't just read, and then they're like, are you ready? I'm like, oh no, I was sorry. I'm too busy analyzing your menu. I'm talking in this chair, and then I'm walking to get a snack. Because there was one outtake where I went, and I looked like it was like a slow motion, like bad news, like I'm having a great day. So funny. Okay, it's not funny when I'm watching and going, Chris, stop it. Crock! Many crock pots come with a crock pots? Crock pats, I said, or crock pat, I don't know.
Come on over. Now go make someone feel special today.